Welcome back to the MacGuffin Movie Club podcast with your hosts Dylan Olive and Keaton Keats. And today we are recording on February 4th, 2024, which is 19 days away from the wide release of Drive-Away Dolls, which is the new solo Ethan Coen film, which is also going to be like the start of a trilogy from him, I guess, of like semi, I don't know, LGBT focused or like women focused.
I think they said lesbian
movies?
B movies.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sweet. There was that other lesbian movie coming out soon with like the buff lady on it.
Oh yeah, what's it? It's like Love Dies Bleeding. It's something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to see in the theaters. That's like, I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's fun. Never really know.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of movies to mention with, upcoming release dates and casts and etc. The main thing this episode, though, is just that we'll be going over the year in review of 2023. But for 2024 and onward, we have the first trailer for Dev Patel's Monkey Man, which is his starring and directorial debut, and looks fun. At the very least, and unique, and different.
And
from.
I believe he wrote it too.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I
mean,
yeah.
I've always loved Dev Patel. I think he's really talented. I'm glad that he's doing something that's like him, and that he's gonna be the star of. Because I feel like there hasn't been a ton for him in the past few years, other than like the Green Knight.
Yeah, I still need to see that one. I've heard quite
love that movie.
Good things about it. But, an action movie that's not an IP, that's also not, like, a sequel, that is also not just, like, a John Wick ripoff. And of course, it's being produced by Monkey Paw Productions, which is Jordan Peele's company, so, they haven't put out any, like, huge misses as far as I'm aware of, I don't think.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it was... I forget if it was Universal or Paramount, but they originally had it, and then Monkey Paw bought it after they dropped it, which makes me more optimistic that it's actually going to be like kind of weird and something that you wouldn't expect to see from a major studio.
Yeah. I would imagine, a studio that's like made by an actor and director and he's like a lot more closely associated with what's going on than something like Sony or like a really huge company would allow for that sort of thing. So that's exciting. There are a lot more like movie trailers and information coming out now just because there's so much like, fuck you, it's January. I literally have only seen one movie from this year, and all of the other movies that I've heard about from this year have all just been like,
Yeah, I don't.
At least I don't know. Anything. Have you seen anything from 24 yet?
I don't think so. I want to check. I mean, I guess if you count the Zone of Interest, since that only went wide in 24.
Oh right.
But I don't think I've seen anything.
Yeah, no, whatever. We'll get to that later. But other upcoming films, Tim Burton is going to direct a remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, which I think is... Tim Burton obviously isn't on a super huge track record, but depending on how Beetlejuice 2 goes, this could be very fun. I really want to like that because the idea of Tim Burton is like a lot more appealing than the reality of Tim Burton, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
sure. Especially now.
Yeah. And with something as campy as Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, that makes sense. That makes sense as something to be remade and reimagined, and like that's funny. It'll probably be better than the other attempts at making like remakes of the classic monster movies. I mean, is this a classic monster movie? I think so.
I think the poster is classic.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean, I know someone who was like who wanted to watch it because they were like, oh, this seems so fun, and they said it was like not good. So I think I feel like there's also a remake in the 70s
Huh.
or 80s that was like that. It was a little more well received. I don't know, but the concept is definitely classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like people know the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
a beloved image. I feel like in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I feel like there is a lot to do with, an idea of something that's so obviously gendered and so like strange. Whatever. I'll just have to wait and see how that ends up going. Um, Unfortunate news for me as a huge Damien Chazelle fan is that his next movie is it's going to be a musical, which is cool, and it's going to be directed by the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn, which isn't cool. Argyle came
Yeah,
out to exactly what I thought it was going to be. God damn it! I wish people liked Babylon more.
yeah. It's sad because I mean, it is interesting to have a director put in director jail because I feel like it's been a bit since that happened. But
Mm-hmm.
Babylon is so good,
Yeah.
and I think that the backlash against it, like financially and critically and from audiences, is just disappointing, and I think is speaks to the opposite of what a lot of like people who want to posture and say that they're like for the new wave of cinema. You know, it speaks to the opposite of what they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that movie is in a lot of ways like really refreshing and also very like 90s new Hollywood, you know, like these golden era. It's like $100 million and it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like people should have supported it more. It's kind of disappointing to see.
Yeah.
Especially Matthew Vaughn too, who's a bad director.
God. Yeah. God damn. I am not excited for that choice, especially. I don't know why he's still making
Yeah.
movies. He sexually assaulted his niece.
I think that was David O. Russell. I
Oh,
believe that was
really?
a different person. Yes, David O.
Oh,
Russell is the
shit,
one who
that
did.
is
Yeah.
who that is. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay.
Matthew Vaughn is just bad at making movies. I
Yeah.
don't, to my knowledge, he has not sexually assaulted anyone.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I was confused. I was thinking of the movie that came out last year called I forget.
Oh, Amsterdam.
Yes, I was thinking of
That's one of the.
Amsterdam.
That movie's terrible. I
Yeah.
made it like half an hour into that. I couldn't. It's god awful.
Apparently I saw the clip of Taylor Swift getting run over of a car from
Yeah,
a car and I thought
that's
that was
the best
funny.
part. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
For other upcoming movies, I think the big one for me is Martin Scorsese's next film being about Jesus, and it'll begin filming soon, and it's based on a book called The Life of Jesus, I think, and it'll only be around 80 minutes is what he said, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we can trust him on that one.
Yeah, he's kind of like an Oda in that sense. It'll be good. It's not like he's
Yes, it'll
going
definitely be
to.
good.
It's not like he's going to shit the bed right at the end. I haven't seen the
And he
Passion
met
of
the
the
Pope
Christ or
too. So
which one?
Last Temptation of the.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of Christ, yeah, which is a great movie. I love that movie.
I will see that one eventually.
Yeah, it's so strange and it's great. Like he doesn't change his direction style, so it's like set in the Middle East and biblical era, but it's still directed like it's Goodfellas, or like it has his flashy direction. It's just great and weird.
Yeah.
And Harvey Keitel is incredible in it. Like
Oh.
he doesn't change his accent and is still Judas. It's the best.
Strange. Yeah, I would also imagine now him making a film, he would like actually cast a Middle Eastern man as Jesus.
Yes.
Rather than Willem Dafoe. So I'm interested in seeing what he's going to say with that in so late into his career, and I mean, of course I care about what he has to say. Scorsese, what do
Yeah.
But that's exciting that there's like more news, because there was a really big gap there, obviously, between making The Irishman and fucking Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah. Because like before The Irishman, there was 2016, there was Silence, and 2013 there was Wolf of Wall Street. So I think it's cool that he's still doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about
And
that.
also, I know Terrence Malick has had a Jesus movie in production for like 5-6 years, for a while. And I don't know if he's just editing or if he's still shooting, because he's Terrence Malick and he's so recluse and stuff. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see two old men after Jesus movies.
Yeah.
As some of their last films, probably.
Yeah, and also, like, if Megalopolis actually comes out this year, that'll be interesting, too, as another, like, old-school director making, like, a magnum opus thing.
Yeah, especially, like, a rumored thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Megalopolis, that production is so fascinating to read about.
Yeah.
Just, like, all the iterations it went through, and how, like, I think it was... They were going to start shooting the week after 9/11, and then that happened, and the whole movie's about rebuilding New York.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, we can't do that. That's, you know...
That is wildly specific. That's... do you think there have been many good movies about 9/11?
Cloverfield is probably the best movie about 9/11.
Oh, yeah,
like, indirectly.
Yeah.
I don't know, let me...
Because I saw a tweet about that, and I was like, yeah, there are. And there are a couple people who are mad who are like, oh, no, this one's good or that one's good. But I couldn't think of any. Like, when I think of 9/11, or 9/11 movies, I immediately think of, like, the most, you know, sappy, exploitative, you know, fucking extremely loud and incredibly close type movies that are like,
Yeah.
cry now.
The best 9/11 movies are the movies that are really just about, like, America post-Iraq War, or, like, during the Iraq War. So, like, I think Little Miss Sunshine, in a lot of ways, is, like, a pretty decent... Like, so there's, you know, there's a clip in that movie where, like, you see Bush giving a speech. But, like, I don't know how many movies there are about 9/11 directly that are good.
Yeah. Yeah, and also just because, like... Yeah, well, yeah, because even though it was a really sad thing that happened, it was, like, so much of... It's not like I can hold on to 9/11 because obviously I wasn't there, but, you know, because so much of what America did was so horrible that it's, like...
Right.
It's not that 9/11 is, like, excused, but it's, like... Yeah, America's not one to talk, you know?
No, yeah.
It's not like we're any better. Anyway, regardless of that, the only other two new stories or announcements is that one that I'm very fucking excited for, that being that Lily Gladstone has been cast in Reed Morano's The Memory Police, which is, of course, written by Charlie Kaufman, and that makes me so happy that she's going to be in another movie that I'm, like, especially excited for, because, like, you know, I like Kelly Reichardt's films, but, you know, it's not like they're, you know, like, my favorite movies ever, but this is like, that's exciting, that's cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad that she's, like, doing stuff now, because she almost quit before she was hired in Killers of the Flower Moon, and I think that I mean, it seems like she's here to stay, and it's cool that she's getting a project that's, like... I remember reading the synopsis for Memory Police, and I don't remember, but I do remember it sounding, like, really interesting, and especially since Charlie Kaufman is seemingly, like, writing for other people again, which is interesting. I don't know. It's just exciting all around.
Yeah, I did watch Orion in the Dark. That was the only film from this year that I've seen, which I thought was good and cute and, like, a solid, you know, kids movie that had some fun meta qualities to it. But regardless, I'm so excited to see how this comes out, however it may be. And it's really cool to see Gladstone. The other cast revealing is for PTA's next film, which I heard at one point was going to be, like, based in modern times. What's the word for that? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Contemporary?
Yeah, contemporary.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that for certain.
So the book that it's rumored to be based on is Vineland by Thomas Pynchon.
Oh, okay.
Which is not a modern day book. So I'm not really sure. He might be updating it because the book is about the eve of Ronald Reagan's election and these people flashing back to the Vietnam War. I haven't read it. I will say that. I've just been getting into Thomas Pynchon recently. But then, I don't know, like, I feel like there could be a way to update that with Trump. It might feel a little cheesy. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is. Anyway, point being, it'll be starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's got a bunch of solid actors attached to it, including Alana Haim, which is cool to see her in a role again since Licorice Pizza. I loved her in Licorice Pizza. She's great.
Yeah.
That movie's great.
Great movie.
Yeah. I'll probably talk about it on the podcast at some point. That was another one where I kind of see why a lot of people weren't into it, but whatever.
I'm a big defender of that movie. I love that movie.
I agree. Now the main thing that we're here for is, of course, the year in review of 2023, and the Oscars have been announced, and then there was backlash, and then there was the backlash to the backlash, and it's all just from the stupidest things. And I would be amiss to not mention the fact that Barbie was nominated for 8 categories, and people on Twitter were upset that it didn't get nominated for leading actress and also director, even though those other fucking, categories had amazing things in them. And then Hillary Clinton tweeted about it, and it was hilarious.
She tweeted #HillaryBarbie, which is, the best hashtag.
I'll be using that one in the future. What is that one meme that's like #TrueCreamers or something?
Is it Ruth Conda Forever? I don't know.
Oh, that's another one. God damn. Anyway, honestly, as far as Oscars go, I don't think these are the worst picks. I mean, some of them I don't like, but whatever.
I think this is like one of their best lineups in quite some time. Like I've seen all 10 Best Picture nominations, and I like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not one that I actively dislike.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. With a lot of these, it's like hard to argue. Starting with, actually, you know what? I guess we might as well just start with Best Picture. Here, okay.
Sure.
The Best Picture nominees in alphabetical order are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Which, I mean, they're all good movies. I probably wouldn't have nominated. Actually, no, I didn't like Maestro. I fucking did. Man, okay. What did you think of Maestro?
I'm a Maestro defender. I really like Maestro. I think it's my take on it is that I think it's like a very vain movie. I think it's definitely a vanity project. But I also think that compared to like every other Oscar baity biopic, it's like pretty interesting in the way that it like doesn't feel like it's a history lesson. It's very much an emotional story. And I think it obviously looks beautiful. I think it's well directed, and I like Bradley Cooper in it, which I know is like, I feel like the most controversial part. I feel like his performance gets...
I didn't like his performance. I find him to be like a Tom Cruise-esque, like, void of charisma, where I just look at him.
I love Tom Cruise.
You're
so I feel like maybe that's the thing. I am a cruiser. I'm a Hail Xenu.
Nice. Yeah, eventually, I think it'd be fun to do a podcast episode where we watched all of the Mission Impossible movies when the next one comes out. But yeah, other than that, I think the only like surprising nominations here are like American Fiction. I'm surprised was nominated, and I really, really like that movie. I thought it was great.
I like that movie a lot. Yeah, I saw it yesterday. It was fantastic. It's a strange nomination, and I feel like I wish I saw it before it was nominated, because seeing it nominated colors my opinion on how effective the satire is in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, the only, like, huge snub for me is May December, which is fucking amazing.
Yes.
Like, easily should have been nominated for way more. I don't even know if it was nominated for anything,
It
actually.
was screenplay, was it?
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah. Which, I mean, definitely just... I mean, the Charles Melton snub is just ludicrous.
Yeah. No, seriously.
That's one of my top 2 performances of the year, I think.
It's up there, certainly. Actually, wait, yeah, so actually, since we're doing, like, Best Picture, what is your, like, choice for Best Picture?
So, I mean, Oppenheimer's gonna win. I don't think there's much debate.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say, if it was, like, a perfect world, my favorite movie out of those is Killers of the Flower Moon. That's a spoiler alert, that's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, same.
I would say The Zone of Interest is the movie I would want to win, because I think that's... Scorsese has his Oscar. Zone of Interest is incredible.
Yeah, that was my favorite movie of the year.
Incredible.
I think,
There's no shot it's winning. There's just no shot,
I think the Palme d'Or going to Anatomy of a Fall makes a lot of sense. That is also an amazing film. But I think a lot of people are going to look back on that year the same way they look back on, like, Sex, Lies, and Videotape winning over Do the Right Thing, where it's just like, well, yeah, that was a great movie too, but like,
Wait, did it actually win over? Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah,
Okay.
right.
I love Sex Lies and
Sex, Lies,
Videotape.
and
That's
Videotape is great,
insane.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll be one of those things, but yeah, Oppenheimer is definitely winning. I think Oppenheimer is
Yeah,
probably
there's no.
gonna sweep. Speaking of which, actor in a leading role, the nominations are Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. What is Rustin? I've forgotten what that movie is.
It's a biopic about a black gay politician.
Mm,
I only know it from like Oscar roundtables. I have nothing of anyone
interesting.
who's seen it. Like it's same with Naiad, which I'm sure we'll
Oh
talk
yeah.
about. Like it's a movie that does not exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just like had no idea. Seriously. And okay, well that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, Killian I think is taking that without a question. I guess it could go to someone else. It could go to
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper just because he wants an Oscar and he doesn't have one. And they could be like,
yeah. I think that's the only other contender, but I don't really see it missing Killian.
mm-hmm.
Because that's the performance of the year in a lot of
Totally.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might agree that that's my favorite leading actor performance of the year. I think.
The
Well,
Leo snub is kind of crazy, actually. Now that I'm
yeah.
like,
Well, he should have got nominated. Probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the other one that I'm a big fan of that had no shot of being nominated was Jussi Vatanen, I think is how you say his name, from Fallen Leaves. I think he's so good in that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's just like a wonderful performance and a wonderful movie. But like that's
Yeah.
never gonna make it.
It's just like I think it was produced by Mubi. Yeah, I would also give like nominations to I think it's pronounced Christian Freidel in The Zone of Interest. I think he did an amazing performance,
Yeah.
and also the kid from Anatomy of a Fall, whose name
yeah.
is Milo Machado Graner. I don't know how that's pronounced, but he gave one of the best child performances I've seen in any film ever.
Yeah, he's incredible in the movie, and it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
He is able to like. I feel like a lot of child performances either feel like they're at their best when it's like someone that feels like older than their years, so like it makes more sense that they're giving like a more fully fledged adult performance, whereas that performance feels so much like this is a 14-year-old kid in this situation that is awful and is it's just an incredible. It's a great movie.
Great stuff all around for that. But yeah, oh man, yeah. Okay, actor in supporting role. The nominees are Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers, RDJ in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things, which are all really great. But Charles Melton not getting in there is fucking crazy.
Yeah, Charles Melton, incredible performance. Just such a masterwork, especially from the Riverdale guy. Like it's
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what he was from before that. And
Nice.
Out of those though, I would have to like I don't know. I think it might be Sterling K. Brown, which feels it's really close for that one. But I think he just does the most with not a lot, and like I think RDJ is great, but I do think he's a little bit overrated in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And I think
No, I'll
De
stand behind
Niro
that.
is wonderful, but like he doesn't need another Oscar. So
Yeah. De Niro doesn't need a lot of another Oscar, but he did give my favorite performance here. Like just
yeah, I would agree with that.
oh my god, because I mean he was in so much of the movie that it hardly even feels like a supporting role, and it was certainly K. Brown does do so much with so little, but De Niro at this point in his career at like his age still being able to do something that still like feels kind of new to him as an actor is incredible.
I've never seen him like that before. He's so incredibly villainous and just hateable in that movie, and yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah. And then Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo aren't going to win because they are comedic performances. So
I think Mark Ruffalo might have a chance.
Really?
That's my like sleeper theory, is that he's been doing such good dramatic work for years,
Yeah.
and it feels like he's gone unnoticed that they could give him a participation award for Poor Things.
Huh.
But I mean, it's like 90% sure going to RDJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll agree there. I think this one is also pretty easy, but actress in a leading role being Annette Bening in Naiad, Lily Gladstone in Killers, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, and Emma Stone in Poor Things. It's going to be Lily Gladstone. Emma Stone gave an amazing performance as well. Sandra Hüller gave an amazing performance as well. Annette Bening, I can't talk to because I've never heard of Naiad before this, and Carey Mulligan I wasn't a huge fan of, but like was fine, I guess.
She's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, Gladstone. If anyone else wins, I'm gonna do the Kanye thing, and I'm gonna get on stage and take the mic and go, "She gave one of the greatest performances of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time." And I'm gonna have to go on a press tour and apologize a bunch. Yeah, that's no question in my mind.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, people are saying like Emma Stone's gonna win. I don't know how likely that is, and I love Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want her to win. Lily Gladstone is so incredible in Killers, and she's like, that's favorite performance of the year, like all around. That's I think just like virtuosic work. Yeah.
I think for this category also the sleeper pick is, well, I don't know if it's a sleeper pick necessarily, but Sandra Hüller does a lot of like emoting. And, like, compared to Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone, who also do a lot of emoting, they're, like, very different, interesting kinds of characters. And so maybe they'll be like, oh, well, Sandra Hüller did the most, like, crying, you know?
Yeah. And there's also, I mean, the thing with Sandra Hüller in that movie in general is that it's just impressive that it's in 3 languages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, I don't know. That's one where, like, as much as I think Lily Gladstone should win, I would not be necessarily, like, upset if Sandra Hüller won. Like, I would still be, like, good for her because that's an incredible performance that I also love. Any other year, I would say Sandra Hüller is my pick. But, you know.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, fuck, we didn't even mention the May-December snubs. Both of those leads deserve
both of those,
nominations. My God. Anyway, actress in a supporting role. Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple, America Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster in Naiad, and Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. This kind of seems like a weak category compared to, like, leading actress.
Yeah, I think Divine Joy Randolph kind of has this one locked.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
I think she's the best performance out of all these 5, and I think that she's the only one with, like, buzz surrounding her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would be cool. I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah. The snub that I don't think you've seen it, but Ferrari. Penelope Cruz is so good in that movie.
Okay,
and
cool.
gives a performance that feels like it is kind of Oscar baity. That I think just works, and, like, she delivers some really quiet moments well. I don't know. I love that movie, and I think she was a little snubbed.
I'm going to look up if Jodie Foster has an Oscar.
She does. She is.
She does? Oh, okay. Yeah.
She has 2, yeah.
Okay, cool.
She Silence of the Lambs, and then I think...
Right,
I don't know,
yes.
there's another one.
That makes sense, because I was wondering why, like, if she... Yeah, I don't know. Again, mystery movie. And then next is Best Animated Feature Film, which, yeah, I finally have... the soapbox with this podcast to stand on and talk about how Best Animated Feature Film is a category that doesn't make any sense, or it only makes sense to old people who created it, right? Because an animated film can still be a great film with plenty of other elements, with the acting and editing and score and story and directing, etc. Just like any other movie, the animation is just one part of it. You know what I mean? It's like cinematography. It all depends. And so, like, you know, I want to, if it made sense, it would be best animation in cinema, or in film. And then that would obviously be Spider-Verse, because that's, like, the best looking movie I've ever seen in my entire life. But actually, I do like that this year with Best Animated Feature Film, the nominees are The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Across the Spider-Verse. And it is cool that it's likely not going to Pixar or Disney, finally.
It would be insane if it went to Elemental. That would be like actual like proof of malpractice, because like that
Yeah.
no one liked that movie.
I don't know how that could happen. Yeah. Boy and the Heron winning, I think, is like the idea, the big one in my mind. I also thought Nimona was cute. I've never heard of Robot Dreams, but
It's a French movie.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. So Across the Spider-Verse was my favorite, but like I don't necessarily want it to win just because it's like, yeah, well, it's a,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's always the third in the trilogy to win if they won. I just think it would be cool to see Miyazaki get a little golden statue.
Yeah. He won for Spirited Away, but I think I mean, he should have won for The Wind Rises, which I think lost to Frozen, which
Wait,
is like
when was that? 2016?
13.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Yeah.
Well, also, A Silent Voice should have won instead of fucking The Boss Baby, but here we are.
Yeah.
Love the Academy. Anyway, cinematography. The nominees are El Conde, Killers of a Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, this one is interesting because I really think I want to give it to Poor Things. I think both in terms of my favorite cinematography and also just in terms of like what I think is going to win. I think the style of Yorgos Lanthimos' direction was really accentuated by the cinematography, and there were a lot of really bold and interesting choices, and so like it was maybe the most cinematography in the way that the nominees or the voters would enjoy, but also I just think it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful movie, and I don't like El Conde. I haven't seen. It does look great from the screenshots I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Maestro looks great. I don't think it should win.
Yeah.
And then like Oppenheimer, I love Oppenheimer. I don't think it looks fine. It looks like a Christopher Nolan movie to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Poor Things like looks unique for Yorgos, and also just looks like nothing else really.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it looks great too. So if it doesn't win, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah. No, that would make me sad if it didn't win. The costume design category, the nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I didn't expect Napoleon to be in here. I mean, I know that it was like a period piece, but I just haven't heard many people talk about like the design of it.
Yeah, Napoleon is the most interesting for its screenplay, I think, and like I don't know. It's like period piece costumes. It looks like they grabbed it off a lot. Like it's not anything special. Poor Things, I also think has this one locked.
Yeah, I would give it to Poor Things, but honestly, I think there's a chance that Barbie wins, just because like it was such a big thing about the movie. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of the buzz was about like how it's being made with a lot of practical stuff and cool sets, and that's respectable. But yeah, Poor Things once again is just crazy.
And the Oppenheimer nomination is kind of crazy. They were just wearing clothes.
Yeah, but yeah, that's another period piece. The directing nominees, I think this is probably the best category that I agree with most overall. The nominees are Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. And honestly, I don't know which of these has my favorite directing.
Yeah, I would say. See, I was about to say I would think it would be The Zone of Interest, but then I was like, it also could be Anatomy of a Fall. And
yeah,
I think it could be Killers. So like, I really don't know.
I think like I wouldn't choose Anatomy of a Fall or Oppenheimer, but between Poor Things, Killers, and The Zone, it's like really a three-way tie. I could not tell you which I liked more.
Yeah, I would say no, because Yorgos hasn't won anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, if he didn't win for like the favorite, I don't see him winning for Poor Things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Something that's like
the other, and it's crazy because like this is a great lineup, and I also think like I wish Todd Haynes would have been nominated and Sofia Coppola and Miyazaki, even though they never nominated him. But it feels like this is such a stacked lineup, and there are so many more that could be in there. So it's really, really a toss up. I think Nolan probably has it locked.
Yeah.
I could see it going to Scorsese maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll probably go to either Nolan or Scorsese. But just a great lineup all around. But then that also makes me think about how, like, the idea of making only 5 feels a little arbitrary, you know what I mean, for nominations. Like, I feel like the number of nominations should change depending on, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, how good any given year is. Doesn't really, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't think it should be like a very specific set number, but whatever, if it works for them, then,
Yeah.
Um, then there is Best Documentary Feature, none of which I have seen nor heard of, except for Four Daughters. But yeah, I haven't seen any of these, nor with the short
I don't think
films.
I've seen any documentary this year.
Okay, well, I'll be skipping over those like the professionals that we are.
Yes.
A true cinephile. Okay, editing. The nominees for editing are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, this is another one that I think Zone of Interest should have gotten nominated for.
Zone of Interest, I think, has the best editing of the year.
I would say that if Killers of the Flower Moon wasn't 3.5 hours long and directed by Selma Shoemaker,
Yeah. That is true. There's so much good editing.
It's so much, and it's so like perfectly made, and like there's a lot of fun, weird little editing tricks going on that are like just fun to look at and watch. Also, besides being like really well timed and made.
Yeah, I feel like it's the shortest 3.5 hour movie you'll ever see.
Yeah, totally. That being
Holdover's
said,
nomination is crazy too. That shouldn't have been nominated, and I love that movie, but that's ridiculous.
That being said, I don't know if the Academy is going to love a 3.5 hour long movie that is not edited like Oppenheimer. You compare it to Oppenheimer, which is 3 hours, but that movie is like a YouTube video, you know what I mean? I mean, not really like a YouTube video, but it's cut very quickly between the scenes, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
that probably has it. I don't know. I feel like there's even a chance that Anatomy of a Fall could take it, because that has like also very fun editing, and I think that movie's great.
Yeah.
And it's that the editing is great. So I really have no clue for this one. I feel like Poor Things doesn't have it. I'll say that.
Then there is another stupid ass what's it called, category that shouldn't exist, those being international feature films, which are Io Capitano from Italy, which I've never heard of, Perfect Days from Japan, which I would love to have seen if it was available to see at all.
There is one there's one version online that has German subtitles.
Damn. That's Vim Vendors. Society of Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, which I do want to see, and the Zone of Interest. If it doesn't go to Zone of Interest, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I would be surprised even after seeing all these other ones if it my pick wouldn't be Zone of Interest. That movie is so important, and I hate calling movies important, but
but you're right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it really is such a revolutionary work. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I've heard good things about all the other ones except Io Capitano, which I've again never heard of, or anyone in it, or anything about it. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, the other ones I have heard positive things about. I'll probably watch Society of Snow and Teacher's Lounge eventually. But yeah, Zone of Interest is a movie that transcends being pretentious because it's just so important and different and speaks to everything about human history, but also about modern day in a way that's real and nuanced and thought-provoking, and it's the most I've ever cried at a movie, and so
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that there's a theme park being built on the border of Gaza right now?
Ugh, God.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Just wanted to bring that up for no particular reason.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, I feel like I've seen people speculating, and I don't about Jonathan Glazer making the movie in support of Israel, which
that would be so.
I can't speak on his beliefs, but I will say, tonight there was an award ceremony where both of the recipients from that movie did speak up for Gaza.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
the movie is, I think, pretty directly tied to the plight of Palestinians right now.
Yeah.
And is, yeah. And also, like, I need to do more research into this, but I saw some people talking about the way that it, like, challenged film rhetoric that fascists created, which I think is super interesting. And, like, God, it's such a great movie. It's crazy that it was nominated for Best Picture, because it's just, like, it's a reductive way to say it, but, like, it's basically Jean Dielman if it was an hour or two shorter.
Yeah.
But about the Holocaust. Like, and that's crazy that even got close to a nomination.
Yeah,
So.
I'll definitely be seeing it again soon, because it has come to Philly finally.
Yeah.
So I'll be checking that one out again just to catch more details. So anyway, yeah, Best International Feature, Zone of Interest.
Yeah, easily.
Best Makeup and Hairstyling, the nominations are Golda, which I haven't heard of,
Jesus.
Maestro,
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of Snow. So this is kind of a Poor Things sweep in my mind. Haven't seen Society of Snow, but again, like I mentioned with the cinematography, Poor Things is so insane that I would be amiss to say anything other than that.
Yeah, I would say, I think for sure hairstyling on Poor Things. But, like, the old age makeup in Maestro is kind of, like, insane.
It did, yeah.
Like, it's pretty great.
That did look quite good.
So I feel like it's really a toss-up over which one it leans towards more.
Yeah. And he did put that big fake nose on, which is very
put on that
funny.
Giant nose. Yeah.
That's so funny that he felt like he had to do that for the movie.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
crazy.
believe that Helen Mirren put one on in Golda too, which is insane. And that it's crazy that they nominated that right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't have a lot to say about makeup and hairstyling, besides just that Poor Things looks incredible, and Willem Dafoe's face always looks convincing, even though he's like chopped up like a Frankenstein monster, and it being like sort of sci-fi, it feels like still grounded in some kind of reality, even though it is sci-fi, and still feels futuristic. So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, music original score nominations are American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which has to just be because it's John Williams.
Yes, and I also think it's reused music, which from what I've heard. So yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. Killers of a Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So it's definitely, I think, unless they want to just give John Williams an Oscar because it's John Williams, then it's definitely going to Oppenheimer, like, no doubt.
I don't know, because Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson did the score, who's the guitarist for the band, and he died in this past year.
Okay.
And I think that is a really great score. Oppenheimer, though, like, people listen to that score, so I really don't know. I also think this is another Zone of Interest snub.
Yes. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, totally.
That's probably my favorite score. And the American Fiction score is great too.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I actually enjoyed it, because it's a lot of like cool flute music and like soft stuff, and there's not a lot of great flute music, but I enjoyed it very much. I could see myself listening to that kind of soundtrack. I think my favorite of the year though was definitely Zone of Interest, and just because that's so connected to the film and the sound of the film and the presentation of the film.
Yeah, and and there's like a 5-minute overture that's very
I forgot about that.
Like to setting up that movie and just how uneasy you feel.
That's okay. And then for original song, the nominations are from Flamin' Hot, The Fire Inside, from Barbie, I'm Just Ken, from American Symphony, It Never Went Away, from Killers of the Flower Moon, A Song for My People, I don't know how to pronounce that, fuck that, okay, whatever.
I think it might be Wajaji?
Wajaji?
I'm not 100% sure. So
okay, and then What Was I Made For from Barbie. It's probably going to either Killers or I'm Just Ken, I would imagine.
I think it's going to What Was I Made For.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't that one didn't that win the Globe? It won something.
Did it? Okay. That makes sense.
And I don't know.
I did
definitely
like
my
that
favorite
song in the movie.
Yeah. The American Symphony nomination feels a little bit suspicious because it is a documentary about a musician. So I don't know how much that should count as an
Weird.
original song and not just a song that he wrote.
Yeah, that is strange, I guess. Hey, did LCD Sound... Oh, no, I forgot. LCD Sound System lost to RRR. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I was about to say, I wish they won. But whatever.
I also wish they won, but that makes sense.
I love LCD Sound System. But yeah, I don't have a lot from music category. I'm not a musician. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I like the song from Killers of a Flower Moon a lot. That was an incredible motif. And then there's production design, which I'm going to say Asteroid City not getting a nomination for production design also feels like one of the biggest snubs of the year.
Or cinematography.
Yeah.
That movie's great too. Oh God, and screenplay. That movie got snubbed in general. I think that's such a good film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's one of his best, but apparently most people don't. Anyway, goddamn, crazy it didn't get production design, but what did was Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Thing. Did I already go over this?
No, I think it's just similar to one of the other categories.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember I was about to say how Napoleon feels like a weird choice.
Yeah, I think that was costume design they were talking.
Ah, right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as for production design, though, I'm guessing it'll probably go to Barbie, my choices, Asteroid City.
Yeah, I would say the nom for Napoleon here is a little bit more fair. I think that movie has some like giant sets that look great. Poor Things, I think, has just awesome sets. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also Asteroid City does. I mean, I don't know. And then like Anatomy of a Fall, the set is so important to that movie. Mm-hmm. So who knows?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Recently, in my video that I made about about the other greatest film of the year, Five Nights at Freddy's, I talk a lot about how like locations and sets are very important to movies, and how like so many films use and utilize like actual architecture and like designing buildings and locations in such creative and unique ways, and Anatomy of a Fall definitely does that. And I respect it a lot for that. I think it's a really cool thing that not a lot of movies tap into. You know, it almost reminds me of like Parasite in that way.
Mm-hmm. I was just about to say. I mean, there was stills posted from the screenplay recently, and like the building was designed in the screenplay. Like there were sketches that Justine Triet put in there. So like it's such a unique and intentional way of set design that I think.
Yeah, it definitely says a lot about how it was written.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the animated short films, none of which I've seen, and live action short films, none of which I've seen, besides Wes Anderson's. I don't know, it'd be funny if he won for that.
I think he probably will win for that.
Yeah.
I think
that.
Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't seen it. I got it.
It's very good. I think it's pretty great. I really liked all of those, and that first one was my favorite. But yeah, I guess we don't have a lot to say about that. And then the sound category, there is The Creator. Did you watch that one?
No, I was going to, and then I think I just had better things to do with my time than to see The Creator.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of like middling reviews of that one. But anyway, yeah, sound. The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. And we already mentioned that like Zone of Interest, it is the sound.
Yeah, Zone of Interest is. Yeah, that movie. I mean, Jonathan Glazer has the quote that's like, "The real movie here is in the sound." Like that's arguably what we should have been filming, but you know the point of the movie is that we're not. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't win sound, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer actually might. I don't know.
It definitely could go to Oppenheimer. I just hope it doesn't. But I feel like I've mentioned that like 3 times already going through these nominations. Visual effects. The nominees are The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Mission Impossible, and Napoleon. I think the standout, or like the fan favorite one here, is Godzilla Minus One, which was an awesome movie. It definitely looked good, but it didn't look like Oscar-winning good, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. It looked like fine from from the clips I've seen and stuff.
Yeah. It's cool that it has any recognition, but like I don't know, I'd probably give it to like Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that movie looked like I don't know, one of the most like consistently not like it never took me out of the setting. I was always in there, especially for like a late stage Marvel movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there were some moments where I felt like a little bit like, oh, they're using a green screen here, but I think it definitely like it pops the most out of anything Marvel's done, maybe ever, other than the other Guardians movies.
Yeah.
I think I love Mission Impossible and I love Dead Reckoning. I don't think the VFX are that good, and like Napoleon has some good aspects to it, but it's not like by any means great. I feel like all of these.
Yeah, if I was being honest, I was expecting Oppenheimer to get another nomination for this.
I was talking to someone and they said that it wasn't even like campaigned for here. So I don't know if it maybe like since it was practical or something, they just chose not to campaign it. Because they were like,
it
oh,
was
it's
all
not
practical.
I don't really know.
Oh yeah,
That was
I
the
remember.
whole thing. Is that, I don't know how true that is, but I know that's what they were saying.
Yeah. Anyway, best writing for adapted screenplay. Here's another big snub. No Killers of the Flower Moon for adapted screenplay, even though it was based on a book.
Crazy.
The other nominations are American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. That's so crazy. That's just like genuinely insane in my mind. That feels like not even the biggest snub, but just like the most like questionable snub. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird, because it's a great screenplay. Like it's not like that's a movie that's only made in performance and direction. It's a wonderful screenplay. I don't know, and I also know apparently I've heard people say that PTA did rewrites on it. Yeah, so I don't even, maybe there's some like behind the scenes drama with that screenplay. I don't know. I think that would be my winner. But
same.
I don't know. Zone of Interest or Oppenheimer, or I could go with either here. Like both are great, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you. Look, it's the last award. Great. For writing for original screenplay. Those being Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. And while I would say that I prefer the screenplay of Anatomy of a Fall to May December, I so hope that it wins, because I just want to get something, man.
Yeah, I think, May December is so incredible, and it's such a good screenplay movie, like specifically a good screenplay. I don't know. Anatomy of Fall, again, it has the multiple language bonus.
Yeah. Well, and also the fact that it's a courtroom drama, which obviously have always had good screenplays if they're going to be in the Oscars. And Past Lives. Holy fuck, how have I not mentioned Past Lives?
For supporting actor, by the way, Arthur I feel bad for singling him out because he's like the white guy in the movie. That's an incredible performance. I think
all three of them are absolutely worth.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful
nominations, but let's get mad that Margot Robbie didn't win, because that's a loss for feminism, I guess. I love feminism.
Annette Bening, but no Greta Lee. I feel like, unfortunately, The Holdovers is going to win. And again, I enjoy that movie quite a bit. And I don't know, I think that winning is kind of a cop-out. I can't root against Maestro in this category specifically because one of the co-writers went to my high school.
Whoa, that's neat.
Yeah, so I gotta stand by Josh
I
Singer.
Did not like that screenplay at all. I found the dialogue to be so fucking annoying.
Yeah, as a defender of the movie, that screenplay is kind of not great. But, listen.
Whatever. Anyway, those are all the categories. It's the Oscars again. I'm excited to write down all of my predictions on a piece of paper and make my family play along and then beat them like I did last year. That was fun.
Yeah, it's a great feeling when you have people who don't know anything about the
Yeah.
Oscars and you get to just prove it to them. It's the best time of the year.
And I can say, aha, I know this thing.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a single friend of mine to play what's it called, Cine Nerd Battle with me. So they're like, why would I play that against you? You're just gonna win. I'm like, yeah, but it might be fun. Do you know what that is?
What's it called? No, I don't know what that
It's
is.
called. Oh, here, let me drop the link. It's basically just a game where you like connect movies via people who have worked on them, and then it's like there are different starting things, and then like you type in an actor's name, and then give a movie that the same actor was in, or director, or writer, or whatever, and it's very fun, and a lot of people cheat, but fuck it.
I would never have to cheat for that.
Yeah,
Just
that's a fun game.
do you know Movie Grid? That's the one I do.
Movie Grid? Oh wait, I think that's like the same. Yeah.
It's
That's
probably
the same
similar.
thing.
Yeah. I do Movie Grid and Box Office Game, which are my two favorites.
But yeah, that's the Oscars. I guess Ryan Gosling is probably gonna perform I'm Just Ken. They're probably gonna have an annoying person host it. Have they announced a host yet?
That was confirmed last year that Jimmy Kimmel's hosting.
Jimmy Kimmel was hosting again?
Yeah,
okay.
Unfortunately.
Cool.
I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not the best.
It's hard to imagine someone who's worse, actually, for me. If I'm being honest, there's not many...
Joe Coy. I feel like that's the one.
Who?
He's Joe Coy, the Golden Globes guy.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I thank you for reminding me of that.
Mm-hmm.
I completely blocked that out of my memory.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Jimmy Kimmel is at least you know what you're gonna get. You're not gonna be surprised with how bad it is.
God, his voice just fucking grinds my gears. I know he's like such low-hanging fruit, but like it's so... Oh, it's so not what I want to see. And it's so like... I just want to enjoy watching this thing because I subject myself to it every year. And it's like...
get John Mulaney. Just get John Mulaney. Like, he'll be fine. He'll do it and it'll work.
Yeah. I'll just complain to myself. Anyway,
do you want to do Jimmy Fallon too?
Do you want to do our like actual lists of all of the movies that we've seen this year?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. How many do you have? How many have you seen from this year?
I've seen like 39. So I don't know if we should do all of them. Maybe we should do like top.
Yeah, I've seen 43, but that's also including like short films.
Yeah, I don't think I have any short films on mine.
Okay. Do let me know your least favorite movie of the year.
Okay, so I've my least favorite movie of the year on my list is the movie Strays, which I saw 10 minutes of and was unwatchable.
Nice.
My least favorite movie actually of the year, the movie that I despise the most, is Saltburn, which I talked about, I feel like an episode or two ago.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Hate Saltburn, but I don't think it's like objectively bad enough for me to say it's half a star or never awful. Like I was entertained while I was watching it.
Yeah, that one's, I guess, it could be worse, right? It's not great. It's actually continued to grow off of me since doing that discussion, even because I just keep I just keep thinking about the shot of him typing nonsense on the laptop and laughing to myself. My least favorite of the year is Five Nights at Freddy's, and especially because I had to watch it or I didn't have to watch it twice, but I did watch it twice because I wanted to make a video about it because I just thought it was that obviously bad that I could just complain about it, and I did that. And you can watch it on my YouTube channel. But it's so not worth watching. I was just kind of curious at first because it was a thing that I did grow up with. And it's I have some nostalgia around, and it's just not... Just don't watch it.
Yeah. I saw the clip of the Matt Pat scene.
Yeah.
And, listen.
Epic.
Happy retirement to Matt Pat and all, but,
Yeah.
That was enough for me, of everyone involved with that movie.
That's enough. That's something that's going to get a sequel, and that'll be fun.
Called Six Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll just go up my list gradually. I'll just kind of mention a couple of them. There's also Mario and Fool's Paradise, which was kind of lame.
Yeah. I
I
was
watched
excited for that, and then I heard the reviews, and I was like, I'm not gonna
yeah.
put myself through
That
that.
one's sad. I watched Knock at the Cabin recently. I didn't like it, but you did. What cuz like to me this movie
So
was like potentially very interesting and had a lot of really cool elements in it, but it was just like so like it just didn't it didn't make stick the landing for me. Like there are a
yeah,
couple times where they blatantly like break the rules that they set up, and it's very obvious, and like there are just a lot of character
that's
choices that are kind of laughable, and I
that's
don't
my
know, it
thing
didn't
with
feel like
Shyamalan.
a great movie to me.
Yeah, so I'm a big M Night Shyamalan fan.
Hmm.
I think second to most recent movie, Old, is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I do want to watch that
Um,
one at some point.
yeah, and the thing with M Night Shyamalan is that if you watch like his earlier movies like Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, which are incredible, both of those movies, they're like pretty grounded and have pretty like natural performances, and then there's a shift, and you start to see him grow into these like kind of hokier, more obvious performances. And I think a lot of people interpreted that as him becoming a bad director. So the shift that happens like, kind of halfway through his career where the performances start getting worse, quote unquote worse. Like people say that's him becoming a worse director. I think it's him creating kind of an intentionally campy, schlocky style that like is a vibe, and if you vibe with it, like it clicks, and if it doesn't, it just seems like really bad. But like there's something about the bigness of all the performances in his movies that I do enjoy, and everything but The Last Airbender, which is obviously
Yeah.
god awful.
You ever see After
that,
Earth?
I have not seen After Earth, but from what I
Neither.
know, he did not really like he directed that movie in name only. I don't know if
Yeah.
he actually. Yeah.
Will Smith. Feeling like Will Smith and his
Jaden
son
Smith.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I just wasn't into that
yeah.
one.
Not
I
gonna,
might
yeah,
like the
not gonna
book.
get
I do
wrong.
want to read the book for that one, actually.
I also want to read the book. I hear the book is a little bit darker, which seems interesting.
Anyway, yeah, some of the other ones I saw. Priscilla, I really liked, but you like especially loved that one.
I love Sofia Coppola, and I think that movie is just everything I like about Sofia Coppola in a lot of ways. I don't know. It clicked with me a lot when I saw it, and it hit me hard.
Yeah, I think my complaint is just that, and I did like the movie, but I think my complaint is just that it conceptually is different from other biopics because it's not about the famous person, it's about the person married to a famous person. But I think like in actual in practice, it feels the exact same as a lot of other biopics. Like structurally speaking, it's just like the rise and fall of their relationship, and so it's like only letting this main character exist in relation to Elvis. It doesn't really let her exist as her own character or have her own things. But also you could say that's like the point, and that's like
Yeah, that's
yeah, okay, yeah, actually, you know what, my complaint is kind of stupid, but still it just feels like another biopic to me, just a really well made one, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very stylish movie, and I don't know. I think Jacob Elordi is very good and is the better Elvis compared to Austin Butler.
Yeah, I
Just
never saw that
fine.
one. I think it'd be fun to
It's
watch that one off like a gummy, or like just like too high so that it's like I'm like stuck in my seat, and it's like I can't move my body, and it's like I'm being subjected to Tom Hanks going, "He's wide." I think that would be funny.
that movie is one of the most coked out things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I might like die of a panic attack if I saw that.
Yeah, sweet. I'm just going through the other movies I've seen that I think are
Yeah.
like worth mentioning at this point. All of Us Strangers I thought was very good. It wasn't
Still
like
haven't seen that one.
yeah, it wasn't like incredible to me, but I think it's just very good at what it did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good
Um,
LGBT relationship movie.
Also, in a shout out, Beau is Afraid, which came out early this year, and
Yeah.
I like that movie, but I think it was slept on a little bit. I don't know. I feel like it deserved a little more love. And the same with The Iron Claw, which came out too late. Which is better than it had any right to be. Like, I don't think that movie's incredible, but like it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's
in a
Zach.
lot of ways
What's
a
his name?
generic
Giving
movie.
a really good emotional performance.
Zac Efron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zac
like
Efron.
that movie in a lot of ways. Like so I hate wrestling. Just to preface this, I
Yeah.
went in that movie thinking, all right, I gotta watch this because it's it's a big movie from this year. And by the end, like I cry at movies easily, but I was not expecting it to like hit me as hard as it did, and it really did. Like
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
got me, and it got punched me by the end.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. It was a really like effective at what it did, and I was pleasantly surprised by that, and I'm glad that
yeah,
it
totally.
got any sort of recognition on Twitter. And yeah, Beau is Afraid is another one that I kind of wish was talked about more because I just think it is so interesting and fun to think about.
Yes.
But
Same with Rotting in the Sun.
oh yeah, that one is really
Yeah.
great. That one is like top 20 favorites of the year for me. That
Yeah, I
one,
love that movie.
especially, I kind of want to pitch this to the audience because it's not one that a lot of people have seen. But basically, it's a writer for like a screenwriter.
Well, he's the director of
Goes
the movie.
Oh right, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
He goes on an interesting little trip and meets a couple people, and it's a very anxious movie, and there are a couple different like parties that all have different information, and you as the viewer have all of the information, and I don't want to say more than that because it's so interesting
Yes.
seeing where it goes. Is
But
that
yeah, it's a very
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it's like it's a low key thriller in a lot of ways. That's also like a Gen Z thriller, and there's also full penetration.
Sweet.
There's like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Dennis
double
Reynolds right
sided
over here.
dildo, just full on fucking
Yeah.
turn them out like 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 never mind. I'll move on from that one. Running in the Sun, great movie.
Great movie.
When Evil Lurks, did you see that one?
I did not see that one.
That one's good. That one's definitely worth
Yeah, I've heard
watching.
good things.
I think. Really great horror movie where you get to see children die and and blood and guts in a way that is actually scary. You know, like it makes gore scary and not just like
Yeah.
gore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do gotta get around to that. Also, the D&D movie.
Oh yeah, I
which
didn't
is
see that.
one of the 5 best Marvel movies ever made.
Nice.
Like, a, very much is just a Marvel ripoff. Is also does it better than most of them. There's like miniatures, like stop motion stuff in it, and there's like split
Sweet.
diopter shots. It's like pretty well made for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of that.
Nice.
And then
Yeah,
also
I
The Killer.
might see that one just like for fun if I'm feeling like something.
Yeah,
like
very fun movie.
Yeah.
The Killer, you got and Bottoms, which we talked about, but
Yeah, we talked about Bottoms. Did we talk about The Killer?
I don't think we did.
Oh, well, I really liked it.
Yeah, I love The Killer.
It's fun. It's cool. It's a cool, almost meta story where it has this character that we've seen before, but like it treats him in like an ironic way, kind of. I don't think I would be
Yeah.
too far off by saying it's a very ironic movie in some ways,
well,
but it's
yeah,
also
100%.
just like earnestly interesting.
Yeah, probably the funniest cut to credits of the year.
Yes. Oh my god, dude, I
It's
laughed
such
for like a
funny,
full 5 minutes.
It's so funny.
Fucking loved that. Love the Smiths.
Yeah.
Um,
Who doesn't love
I need to mention Infinity Pool as well by
I still
the
haven't
other
seen Infinity
Cronenberg,
Pool.
Brandon Cronenberg. So good. I thought it was like so genuinely stellar as a movie about class inequality and as a horror movie and as a Cronenberg name movie, and Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård give great performances, and it's actually like really creative and unique, and I don't know why people don't like it.
Did you see the unrated cut or the?
No, I did not
theatrical
see
cut?
the full dong cut, but I am aware of that.
Yeah, I need to get around to that one because I love
that'll be fun.
old David Cronenberg.
They don't play it in the local AMC. In the famous words of Dennis Dennis Reynolds, "Give me dong or give me death."
Give me death.
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, Glenn Howerton in Blackberry is great. That movie was great. That was
I meant to
that.
see that before this episode, and I didn't get around to it. I was that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one is very good. It's also just sort of like a typical, not really biopic, but like story of a product as a movie. But it works for me just with the tension alone, and the performances are all great, and I love Matt Johnson as well. I'm very excited for the return of Nirvana the band, the show, whenever that might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
I have not seen it. I've been meaning to. There's so much stuff I need to see.
Just very funny fucking show.
Yeah. I've seen clips and it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I know I already mentioned it. If anyone has written off Ferrari as a biopic, which it is in a lot of ways a biopic, there's a scene in Ferrari which is like, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say it, is like a Terrence Malick level, like super wide camera, emotional, like music, transcending stuff, and it's like kind of it's like the same way Hereditary is, quote unquote a secret movie about grief. Ferrari is a secret movie about grief, but instead of horror, it's a biopic, and it's like it's just incredible, and it has probably the most disturbing scene I've seen this year, and there's
Now instead of saying that movies have themes and messages, they say that's the secret movie.
yeah, I don't know.
I will
that
get
movie
around
is
to that one though.
incredible.
I do want to see that.
I don't know how many other things I need.
Did you
wanna
see
say.
Dream Scenario?
No, that was another one I meant to get around to in there. Because I
Yeah,
love Nick Cage.
it was very
and
funny. It was not like the deepest thing in the world, but it was very funny. It was
It's a big year for people trying to do Charlie Kaufman with Beau is Afraid and Dream Scenario.
yeah, totally. It's it's not like a Kaufman level fucking 5,000 IQ meta bizarre thing, but it is still strange and fun and quirky, and I'm glad that it exists. I kind of wish more people talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most underrated movie of the year, I want to say at least, is How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which was technically from last year, but nobody saw it until this year, or until 2023. So I need to mention that movie because I think it's fantastic. It's like this, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I guess it's a like Ocean's 11 style or structure for a story about like collecting a crew to, as the title suggests, blow up a pipeline or an oil pipeline, and it's very radical and it's very political, but it's also it's able to strike a balance of nuance and being direct and forthright with its messaging, and it's hopeful, and there's really good character writing to go along with these ideas, and it's such a great independent film, and I wish more people were talking about it is all.
Yeah, that was one that I remember seeing the synopsis for halfway through last year and be like, this sounds awesome, and then I added it to my watch list, was keeping an eye out for it, and then like it skipped theaters and I just never got around to it. That's one that I actually need to see. That it looked so good.
Totally.
I'll say the biggest disappointment of the year, and I don't want to be too negative, was the movie Theater Camp.
Oh yeah, I never saw that one.
Which is like just so fine, and it disappoints me because everyone involved is so funny, and like it just ends up being just a nothing movie. So I don't know. Patty Harrison is so wasted in it, which is the most disappointing part because she's incredible.
Damn. That yeah, that's a shame. That looks like potentially fun. That looked like something that I could be into, but I don't know. There were a couple movies this year that were kind of disappointing. Are there any other like ones that you want to mention before we do like a top 10 thing?
I mean, I'll just say like, we already kind of mentioned about like Fallen Leaves is so good and so enjoyable and like heartwarming in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's a really unique
like,
rom-com, if you can even call it that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Marxist rom-com, which is kind of cool. So check that one out if you know.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like
Whenever
not a ton
anyone
of
gets a
people have seen
chance to. Do you want to go first, or actually, you know what? I guess we should do the thing where it's like we go back and forth with
it.
the
I was
numbers. So
gonna say.
you give me your number 10 favorite.
So my number 10, a second ago was the holdovers. Right now it is Ferrari.
Okay, cool.
I've just psyched myself up on that. So maybe you could change, but that movie's so good.
Nice. Yeah, that is one that I'll get around to. But also, the only other Michael Mann film that I've seen is Heat, which I thought was okay, but like didn't love.
Yeah.
So I do want to get. Yeah.
I've learned to love Michael Mann because I also saw Heat first and was like not a big fan of it, but I think every other movie I've seen from him I like a lot more.
I do want to see more of his stuff. My number 10 is Oppenheimer. It's obviously an amazing film, but it's not one that like super directly connects with me, but like is still very I still like it as much as it is appealing to so many people. It works for me as well. I don't have much to say about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a little further up my list, so I guess I'll save my thoughts until then. My number 9 is Asteroid City. That movie hit me hard in a lot of ways, and I think is in the top 3 Wes Anderson movies. I think it's like one of the few examples of like post-quarantine cinema, and I think everyone in it is so good. Like, especially Jason Schwartzman, who is like a sleeper, like top 10 performances of this year. I think it's a wonderful film.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though it's like still doing the Wes Anderson thing, I still think that I agree with you. Yeah, that one is also on my list. But my number 9 is The Boy and the Heron, which Miyazaki being such a legacy like director, I was kind of nervous going into it, being like, what if it doesn't live up to my expectations? But it did. It absolutely did. It's not like the deepest thing in the world. It's not his best movie necessarily, but even still, it's a very standout, beautiful piece of animation that's also happens to be about grief and loss.
And I love that movie. That's my number 8. I saw that with a bunch of people who hadn't really seen Ghibli movies before, and they all like loved it, which made me very happy. So I think that movie's just a great time in general. And also the only time that was available was the dub, and Robert Pattinson gives one of the best dubs I've ever heard. He's so great.
That is very
as
cool.
the Heron. Yeah.
I would be interested in seeing that dubbed at some point. Asteroid City is my number 8 also, which obviously we already talked about, but that production design is so fucking good. What's your number 7?
So good. My number 7 is Anatomy of a Fall, which is really like my 4 to 7 is like floating around depending on the day.
Okay,
But like to me, I think Anatomy of a Fall is like a damn near perfect movie, and I think I'm a sucker for a good courtroom drama. Yeah. So like, and it's basically the best you can get from a courtroom drama. Yeah, it's just a great movie.
Yeah, I will have to agree with you. Anatomy of a Fall is at my number 6. I parrot ditto exactly what you said. Just a kind of perfect movie in a lot of ways. But my number 7 is Barbie, which I didn't expect to be so high. I was like, I'll probably like it, but I don't know why. It's so fucking genuinely a fantastic film. It's still it's still just an advertisement, and it's still very kind of flat with its feminism, and not like it's not breaking any new ground. But goddammit, it's so funny. It's like it's easily one of the funniest movies of the year, and I just it's one of the easiest movies to love of the year. Like, to just look at the pretty colors and the fun sounds and the choices that were made to make this is like as good as it could possibly be. You know what I mean? It's like the Lego Movie, I think, in that way. in that, like, even though it's still so fucking good. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I have a lot of problems with Barbie just politically. I think it's such like it's such a movie that's like trying to do 10 different things at once, but like as like an experience of like sitting down to watch it, it's so enjoyable, and I think everyone gives a great performance. The problems I have with it more come from the writing.
Yeah.
But my favorite Barbie movie of the year is my number 6, which is Poor Things.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Makes sense.
Which I loved. And I think that's on your list too, probably. So I'll wait to talk about it.
Yeah, that is higher on my list. My number 6 is Anatomy of a Fall. My number 5 is Across the Spider-Verse. I don't love it as much as the original Spider-Verse, which is kind of also a perfect movie and a perfect comic book movie, but this one still has so many interesting things about it. It gets the proper amount of strange and fourth wall breaky. It feels like it doesn't go too far with the fan service. The idea it deconstructs the idea of what a Spider-Man, in air quotes, story is and can be, and is like the perfect. And also Miles as Spider-Man is like the perfect person to have as the leader of that story, or the protagonist of that story. And also Gwen Stacy's trans, and that's cool. And it is maybe the best looking animation I've seen in my entire life, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Oh my god, I cannot wait for that third one, and I really hope that the animators aren't overworked and underpaid.
I will never know because Phil Lord blocked me on Twitter, so I can no longer get updates. I have a lot of the same problems with Spider-Verse that I do with Barbie, and just that, like, I think there are elements of it that feel like so cool and radical to me, and like it's such a easy movie to watch, but then like I don't know, there's some elements of it that are like a snake eating its own tail. But overall, like it's an incredible accomplishment, and I will be there day one for the sequel. Beyond, is that what it's called? Beyond Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse, because like it's such a great movie that like would stick the landing if there was a landing at all, but it's half a story, so whatever. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Oppenheimer.
Right, yeah.
That I saw that opening day on IMAX 70mm, and then so like the crowd was silent when the bomb dropped. And that was like one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. I don't know. I think that movie is like kind of a masterpiece, and I'm not a big Nolan fan, and that movie really grabbed me in a lot of ways. I don't love it as much as I think a lot of people do, but it's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that makes sense. I already did number 5. My number 4 is May December, which is
so is mine.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. It's my favorite Todd Haynes movie out of the 3 of his that I've seen. I also very much enjoyed Safe and Carol, but this one is just like on another level for me. Yeah. So interesting how the information is given out to the audience across the runtime. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Carol, like it's this weird thing. Like May December, I think, is one of the few movies that's ever had me literally on the edge of my seat in the theater. I was gasping.
You got to see that in theater. Nice.
Yeah, I forced my parents to take me. One day they could. And then Carol is like emotionally hits me really hard in a lot of ways. So it's like two different sides. May December's incredible. And Charles Melton is so good and gives a performance that is just so lived in and honest. And I feel like as a movie, that's what it is in a lot of ways. It's a very like lived in movie. For as not campy because it's not a camp movie, but like intentionally kind of soapy as it is in a lot of points. It is a very grounded film at its core, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, and it's fascinating as a movie too because it's based on a true story, but the true history of real life people, but it is also a film about the story of two real life people fictionalized, and then the ending is incredible. The ending I would compare to
Yes.
like the ending of Tar. You know what I mean?
Very similar to Tar. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
similar movie to Tar in general. It's like
yeah.
Tar if you tone down the pretentiousness a little, and I love Tar.
That's one of my favorite movies ever made. But yeah,
No, yeah, same with
anyway,
me. I love Tar a lot.
May December,
Um,
perfect
yeah,
movie.
the thing with May December, what was I gonna say? Oh, the thing that not enough people are talking about, because like they're in an interview with the real couple. I feel gross calling them that, but like that the movie's based on came out, and people realized that some of the dialogue was transcribed, and I feel like the thing that people are not acknowledging with that was that the dialogue was transcribed from an interview into like a domestic scene between the two, and I think that's like the most interesting choice of like conflating public and private life ever,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
it's
Yeah,
such an interesting decision, and that's why I think that screenplay is deserving of its Oscar. It's masterful work.
yeah, yeah. Very excited for that one to be remembered by some people and completely dismissed by others. God damn, what a great film. What's your number three?
Yeah. My number three is Priscilla. I feel like we talked about
Oh
this
yeah,
one.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I love Sofia Coppola, and I love that movie. I think
Yeah,
a lot of
I
great
definitely do want to see
performances.
more of Sofia Coppola's films.
Yeah. Marie Antoinette is probably her best, I
Okay,
would
cool,
say.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number three is Poor Things. We've talked about that already a lot, but it's my favorite of Yorgos's. It's maybe my favorite performance by Emma Stone, but I also need to finish watching The Curse.
Yeah, The Curse is, but
Yeah, it's one
close
of the
there.
best performances from Mark Ruffalo. Willem Dafoe is great as usual. It is yeah, I could see the comparison to Barbie structurally as a story. It's really cool to see a movie that is this sexual and overt
Yes.
and like um, yeah, it's not shy. You know what I mean? It knows
And
exactly what it is.
especially a movie that's like overtly sexual, that's not like kind of like tee hee hee, look how sexual you are, like something like Saltburn
Yeah,
is, not to bring it back to that, but like it feels so genuine, and like it's actually being it's saying something that is transgressive instead of being transgressive, like there's a level of intent there that you don't really get when something is that unrestrained
yeah,
usually.
yeah. It's also very dark, not a lot of the time, but
Yes.
like as a film, and also considering the sexual aspects of it, and um, what it's saying about people's relationships and gender is maybe a little bit obvious, but is still very touching. And then I guess our top two are like interchangeable. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Which
My
are
number two is Killers of a Flower Moon, and my number one is Zone of Interest, whereas it's flip flopped for
It's
you.
flipped for me. Yeah.
Right.
But it could change. I mean, the thing is, Killers. Westerns are very important to me, unfortunately.
Mm.
So like having Scorsese do Killers of the Flower Moon, which is his western, is like that's an important movie for me. Just
Yeah.
kind of like in a that happened. The Zone of Interest is, I mean, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I think that's like one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think that movie is incredible, and like does stuff like I don't want to spoil it, but the scene at the end that's kind of like Taste of Cherry is
Oh yes, yeah.
that's probably the best moment in any movie this year. I don't know if there's like a single like decision that I think is as impactful as that one. Yeah, and I've after watching some more Jonathan Glazer.
I would compare that ending to like the ending of a Spike Lee film, you know what I mean? But just more tastefully done.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and after seeing, I still haven't seen Birth, but Under the Skin and Sex Abuse are also great, and
Oh
Jonathan
yeah,
Glazer's a great director.
man, Under the Skin, so good too. Oh man.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
movie's
yeah, my choice of Zone of Interest and Killers we've talked about so much over this podcast. I don't even know if I have
yes.
anything more to say, but
We did a whole episode on Killers. Too.
Sandra Hüller did an amazing job as well in the Zone of Interest as a supporting actress. Oh God, the maybe the most terrifying shot in the film is the one that is like, if you remember what I'm talking about, it's a low angle close up of the back of the main
Oh,
character's
yes.
head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that killed me.
That, yeah, Jesus. And then when it cuts to the close-ups of the flowers, that stuck with me. And I don't even know how to put why, but it's just like seeing, because the rest of the movie is shot in wides pretty much, and having close-ups to like the things that are so precious to the main characters is just such an uncomfortable and haunting moment. And even though they're like flowers that are innocent, oh my god, just kind of genius little stuff.
Yeah, and that also reminded me of how in that film the architecture is used in really interesting ways, and it's like they're able to like jump scare you by your familiarity with the location and with the house and with the garden and the way that the camera moves and doesn't move most of the time with its fly on the wall type thing. It's
I learned this recently. It was hidden cameras.
like that was actually how each scene was filmed.
So there was
Okay, interesting.
it was largely improvised. There was not a lot of direct stuff, and there was no crew on the set.
Interesting.
Obviously, for like tracking shots and stuff, there was but a lot of it was very loose and found in the moment, which like makes it even like more disturbing in a weird way.
Yeah.
That like there's such a thin line between these characters, these actors, and the audience, and God, just
totally. And that also makes sense after he made Under the Skin, which was also largely like guerrilla filmmaking with ScarJo in Scotland and like a bunch of real people just on the streets and in real locations. And so that's cool that seeing that like he has a style of filmmaking that is typically very difficult to pull off that he does so effortlessly, seemingly.
Yeah, it feels so natural and so like unlike anything else, and it's not usually in a way that is like Kiarostami or whatever, where it's like meta and that's like part of the point. It feels like this is how the story is told naturally,
Yeah.
And I love Kiarostami. Don't wanna
totally. Yeah, we'll talk about his movies at some point probably. In the meantime, though, I guess
an asshole, though.
I don't have much more to say about 2023. I thought it was a great year for movies.
Wonderful year.
So far, I think the 2020s have been, 2020 and 2021 were just kind of like okay, but then 2022 and 3 I thought were like real nights for.
Yeah, they were really good. 2020 and 2021 don't really count. Those are like
those were COVID times.
Yeah,
I liked I'm Thinking of Ending Things and Licorice Pizza, but like whatever.
I mean, both incredible movies.
And then 2024, I there's so much to look forward to, but like it's hard to say. I don't know if it's gonna be a good year or not. Tarantino might make his last movie. PTA might release his movie this year or next year. It's been like a very nothing year for movies so far throughout all of January and
but January is always slow.
That's
the one I feel like 2023, just as like a final wrap up, felt like the people were back to the movies and caring about movies more than they'd been recently. Like even just beyond COVID, like it felt like Barbie and Oppenheimer kind of excited this new thing where it was people were like, oh, we can go and see Killers of the Flower Moon. Like we can, engage with this as an art form.
Yeah.
And that's just really great to see, and I hope that continues.
Totally. And even like, was Napoleon successful?
I think it was moderately successful. I mean, not like huge or anything, but
it's really cool it's really cool to see Poor Things get a theatrical release and be able to see that on a on a big screen with a fully crowded room, even if it is at like an indie theater. And
it's cool to see The Zone of Interest eventually get a release and have people see it. Even it took a bit, but I mean, listen, It's
It's
cool to
here.
see
If you
a
can
slow
see it, then
cinema
see it.
movie. Yeah.
Audience members, I'll definitely be seeing that again soon. So yeah, that's
I don't know if I can see a movie again. Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 2023 in the movies. There was also TV shows. How
Yeah.
many TV shows did you?
I saw obviously The Curse, which is like one of my favorite things ever, and then I saw the new season of The Bear, and I love The Bear. So I feel like I haven't seen much beyond that.
Oh, you know what? There were a couple great things from 2023. There was I'm looking at my IMDb and what I watched. There was Kunk on Earth, which is a sequel to Kunk on Britain. Have you ever seen any of the Kunk
No,
stuff?
I've another thing I've been meaning to get to.
Yeah, she's so fucking funny. She really is like such a. I think British humor is a little bit overrated, but she's great. Yeah, not much to say on that though. My favorite thing that I saw this year, or the TV show that I saw this year, was Netflix's adaptation of Pluto, which is a manga by Naoki Urasawa, which I love and never thought was going to be. Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of this.
Okay, let me explain for you and for the audience. There was an arc in Astro Boy that was like a murder mystery arc. And one of the greatest mangaka of all time, named Naoki Urasawa, also famous for writing 20th Century Boys and Monster. Have you heard of either of those?
I've heard of Monster. Yeah.
Okay, well, those are both masterpieces. Anyway, this one is only like 8 volumes long, and it's a murder mystery, and it's, I think, the best or the most convincing argument I've seen for why robots are alive, and they did a really good job adapting it. They let the material breathe, but they didn't like stretch it out too long. They didn't shorten it. I'm so happy that it was like a real faithful adaptation with nice animation, even if not a lot of people talked about it. So yeah, add that to your watch list if you'd like.
Yeah, totally.
Because like the Monster anime was also really amazing, but wasn't quite as good as the manga, even though it was animated by Madhouse, which is that or Gainax are like my favorite anime studios, but that one just works a little bit better in the form of a manga. Anyway, yeah, that's my wee brand for today. And the other TV show that I watched from this year that I really liked was Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Did you see that?
No, I've never seen that or the original movie. So,
oh yeah, it is based off of a series of comics as well, and I love all 3 of those. This is like it does a new thing with the franchise. It actually turns all of the X's into like real characters, and it has beautiful animation, and the voice acting is so. Like there are some people that are very good and some that are very not. But I like that it's something new and that it's different and has like, it's ultimately the same like point and it has all the same characters, but it's done in the main romantic interest, Ramona Flowers, is basically the actual protagonist of this Scott Pilgrim anime, and it's very cool. But yeah, I think
cool.
You would appreciate it a lot more if you've already read the comics or seen the movie, which I love both of. But anyway, yeah, that's my TV journey. I'll see The Curse soon, or I'll finish that soon.
Curse, masterpiece. Like one of my, just so great. And then like, I feel like I didn't see that many new shows. I mean, I caught up on The Bear, which is probably the only thing that's like rival Twin Peaks for me as my favorite show.
Cool. Yeah, I will see that one soon.
Yeah, The Bear love The Bear. I mean, I always have to shout out a new season of The Wheel of Time, just because those books are important to me. The show's
right, yeah,
fine.
I do want to read those.
Yeah, show's not great, but it's good enough.
Yeah, it's passable.
Yeah, and then thought the last season of Barry was awesome.
Oh yeah, really I never finished that either. Yeah.
It's worth finishing. It's great.
Yeah, I only watched the first like 3 episodes of season 4. And then I just never finished it for whatever reason.
The half, I think it's like halfway. I think it might be an episode or 2 after the ones you got to. Like, there's a shift that's like that's so interesting, and it's just a great That's another one of my favorite shows ever. I love Barry.
Very cool. Yeah, okay, well, you've convinced me to finish that, but also Barry reminded me of Succession, which the final season came out,
Right.
and I fucking love.
I have not finished that season.
It's so fucking good.
So,
It's so good. I think each season progressively gets better. I would argue that anyway. Oh man, it does a lot of what you think is going to happen, and it does a lot of not that, and it's hard. I'm really trying to tiptoe around spoilers, but there are a couple episodes in that final season that are like some of the best TV that I've seen in the past decade, and fuck man, it so sticks the landing. It so sticks the landing because the whole TV show is like basically just one story of who is going to be the successor to the company, and I'm so glad it doesn't like go off the rails. It doesn't it does go off the rails in a good way, but it never gets distracted, and it never gets confused, and it never gets too complicated, and every performance is amazing and whatever. Anyway, Succession,
great show from the 99% of it that I've seen.
Cool. That's
that
is crazy actually that you stopped. I don't know how.
I was the type of thing where I was watching it, and then I forget what happened, but I had to there was something I had to start doing. I couldn't watch as much TV, and I was just I didn't want to that's not a show that I can relax to, I feel like, and TV is I usually like to sit down and relax. So I don't know. I will get to it in the next 6 to 12 months. So,
totally. Perfect. Okay, well, I think that actually for real wraps up our 2023 discussion. We can talk about the film that I've recommended.
Yeah, which is Symbiopsychotaxiplasm.
Yeah,
Part 1, Take 1.
Yes, I didn't end up watching Take 2. It was hard to find, and it kind of got mixed reviews anyway. But this is, I explained it last time as like a cross between documentary and narrative feature, and it has a lot of qualities of pieces of art that you would see today with how deconstructive it is about the medium of film. But I don't think I have as much to say about it as you do, because when I watched it, I just kind of sat there and I let it wash over me, and I was like, wow, that was really great. But I want to know what you thought.
Yeah, I don't know if I do have much to say about it, because it's weird to talk about a documentary, because it feels like if you want to know what the documentary's saying, watch it, And I think what I'll say is I've never seen a movie so thoroughly deconstruct the layers of filmmaking in a way that movie does. I don't it really defines the separate spheres of it all, of editing and performance, and then the way that behind the scenes interacts with the making of the film, and how we view artists as a part of the process. And but watch it. It's an hour and 10 minutes long. There's no reason not to watch it, honestly.
Yeah, it's only an hour 15 or something. I also thought it was a great time capsule of the late 60s.
100%.
The scenes where the editors were talking in the editing bay was so fucking annoying, because they kept talking over the women. Every single time, they were always oh, I've got something to say. That fucking guy with the mustache.
Yes, I was just about to say, that guy sucks. Oh my god.
Yeah, but they were all interesting people to watch in these different settings, in the making of whatever it ended up being,
Yeah. I think that it's weird, because I want to see the movie that they were making to a certain extent, because there's not many movies from the late 60s that talk that openly about queer relationships, I feel like. And or not that that was a queer relationship, but queer people in relationships. So I'm kind of it's a weird thing where it's kind of a good time capsule of how the history of gay cinema, but then also is not at all about that as a movie. I don't know. It's a weird little detail to it.
Yeah, now that you mention that is an interesting topic for a scene that is used, because when I think about this movie, it's Do you really think he was trying to make something else before he made Symbiopsychotaxiplasm?
Um, from what I've heard is like from interviews that he's given, because I looked at this a little bit, he was saying like he was intentionally directing poorly and intentionally being kind of elusive from the crew. So
Right.
I don't think he was really trying to make something else, or at least what he was trying to make was the secondary priority to Symbiopsychotaxiplasm.
Yeah, because the one of the people does mention how like when the camera is on him, he's like turned on into like a character version of himself, which is interesting. But I don't think that necessarily means that everything he was doing he was just making up. I think he was just like putting a little more on because he knew what he was doing in the back of his head.
Right.
Um,
And
and
also, that's
yeah,
what people who didn't know what he was up to were seeing. So it like could have been possible that in his mind he was always playing a character. He was just playing a different one when the cameras turned to him, like
yeah,
because he was messing with the crew from to try to get them to react to what he was doing, and it's a very like it's a movie that feels simultaneously like very intellectual and thought out, but also like very much like kind of someone playing with a scenario and not necessarily like writing an essay movie.
it's I I don't know exactly what I want to take away from it though. I think
Yeah.
I as much as I do really love it and I love its place in cinema history and I love a lot of what it's doing, it's like I need to see it a second time to even like know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that might be a reason to see Take Two or Take Two and a Half.
Sure, yeah.
Just to get more clarity and then to see everyone reflect on it.
Mhm.
I feel like the best use of that movie is as like a guide to how to treat people on set to not get them to act like that. To
Yeah,
just learn how to be a better director. I don't know.
yeah, that man, that is it. Cuz like the movie, what would you say that like the Symbiopsychotaxiplasm as a film is more made up of how it's edited together with like the three different rolling cameras and then like the cutting to the editing bay, in that like that's almost like it's not even, I'm forgetting the man's name, it's almost like it's not even his movie anymore, where it's but of course it
Right.
is because that's his whole idea, but it's almost like this is not being made
Yeah.
by him. I need to pull him up. Hold on.
William Greaves.
Oh,
Bill
thank you,
Greaves is what
William.
they call him. Yeah.
William Greaves. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting how much like liberty he gave to everybody involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It really
Which is probably
is.
not necessarily a good thing if you want to be like a solid director, but
Yeah. It's that feels like. See, the weird thing about it is that it feels like I can say, like, yeah, that's what the movie's about. It's about ownership of art. But then it's also, like, about 7 million other things. And I think that also might be what it's about. The fact that it's about everything. I don't know. It's a very, like, it's like a spiral of a movie. I don't know.
yeah, I see that comparison. I also want to mention just how funny it is, even in concept, the idea that a movie is like so different and so groundbreaking and so unlike anything else that the editors feel the need to
Yes.
film their own part and put it in the movie. The idea that like that it's so strange you couldn't even just present it to an audience without the people in the process of making it saying like, hey guys, we don't know what's happening either,
Yeah.
that's
I
yeah, that
yeah.
also interestingly ties
Well, I
to
think
the
they
idea
did
of
it.
like art ownership.
They did it as an open letter to William Greaves for him to take their feedback. So I don't
Yeah.
think they put it in the movie. I don't think they knew it was going to be there.
Oh shit, wait, is that what that was?
Yeah, they did
Oh,
it.
I'm
They did it in the
stupid.
middle of filming.
Okay.
So they weren't even thinking it was people were gonna see it. I think they just thought it was gonna be him, because they didn't want to like confront him. but like
That's interesting. Okay,
it is.
I am kind of stupid. I did not realize that. I definitely need to
No,